some people are comparing Dillian Whyte's demeanor in the run-up to this Itauma fight to his demeanor in the run-up to the Fury fight. And they're saying that's a worrying thing because they were expecting fire and smoke, or at least they hoped for fire and smoke from Dillian Whyte in the Partridge bout, which was several years ago now, but they didn't really get it. It was anticlimactic from Dillian Whyte against Partridge. Well, I don't see the same Dillian Whyte here as I saw in the lead up to the Partridge fight at all. Okay, he's been quiet in the lead up to this fight as he was in the lead up to the Partridge fight, but he wasn't self-deprecating in the lead up to the Partridge fight. Quite the opposite. He was talking himself up, from what I can remember at least. In the little bit of media he did, he was talking about why, he's going to go in there and do the business. Whereas here against the Itauma, he is constantly downplaying his chances, constantly saying, I'm a nobody. I don't get compared to Mike Tyson like Itauma does. I don't even get compared to journeyman from the 70s like Jerry Quarry. Jerry Quarry is probably a bit more than a journeyman, more like a, contender, fringe contender. But anyway, splitting hairs. Dillian Whyte is constantly downplaying his chances. He didn't do this ahead of the Partridge fight. And my take on it is that it's mind games from Dillian Whyte. Yeah, it's partly inspired or motivated by the fact that everybody's writing him off. So he feels aggrieved. I mean, I saw him put Ade under pressure. That was quite funny. Shout out to Ade, right? And Ade didn't say anything wrong. He just gave his honest view that he thinks Itauma's going to beat Dillian Whyte, but Whyte stuck it on him a little bit. Whyte is a big, intimidating yard man, a volatile character. So yeah, Ade was on his toes a bit there. It was quite funny. But again, shout out to Ade. Dealing with Dillian Whyte can't be an easy thing, especially when you've annoyed him, So yeah, I just think it's Dillian Whyte being sarcastic towards the media because he feels aggrieved that they've all written him off. And also playing mind games a little bit with Itauma because he knows that there's no pressure on him, so he wants to heap the pressure on Itauma. That's why he's downplaying his chances. Well, Itauma's supposed to knock me out. I'm nothing. I'm a nobody. This is a young kid, 20 years of age. He's never headlined a show before. Never mind a show in Saudi Arabia, a very big event. Is Itauma feeling the pressure maybe? I mean, I'm not sure how many of you saw the Grand Arrivals today when Itauma was interviewed on DAZN. He was on, the YouTube channel and everything. I've never heard Itauma talk so much before in my, in the whole time that I've known about him. Did you see how much Itauma was talking? He was talking at like 100 miles an hour. He was talking at like 100 miles an hour and he was saying loads and loads of stuff, way more stuff than I've ever seen him say before. Is that just him coming out of his shell a little bit and becoming more comfortable in media situations? Or is that Itauma feeling the pressure a little bit and talking loads because he's maybe a bit nervous with all the expectation on his shoulders? I don't know. I guess we'll find out on fight night. But yeah, I've never seen Itauma talk that much. He's not a Daniel Dubois or a Joe Joyce, right? But, he's not that bad at talking. He's not that introverted, but he's generally a man of relatively few words. But in that interview they did with him, with Ade Oladipo, Darren Barker, I think it was Barry Jones as well, today at the Grand Arrivals, I was like, wow, they almost couldn't stop him talking. I was like, And before I go, make sure you check out my Moses Itauma Dillian Whyte film study on Patreon. It's 1 hour of me going through actual footage from both of their fights and pointing out various technical flaws and proficiencies in both men. Will this be liftoff for Moses Itauma, or will the young contender be exposed as another pretender by the old warhorse Dillian Whyte? This film study may persuade you one way or the other. Also, check out this other recent film study I've done, Alexander Usyk, Signs of Decline, where I go through footage of some of his fights, including his most recent win over Daniel Dubois, and point out what I believe to be indications of Father Time catching up with him. As counterintuitive as that might sound to some, given the fact he stopped Dubois quicker in the rematch than he did in the first fight, but there are reasons for that, which I go into. So make sure you check these videos out. You can access them along with previous film studies I've done and hundreds of hours of other exclusive boxing content on my Patreon page via the boxing tier, the Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time. It's cheaper than a cup of coffee. You know the routine by now. All the links are in the description box below. I'll see you over there.